Hi, everyone. This is Michelle Sullivan, and I'm so excited to bring another interview to you as I began this and beginning this storytelling project of Helene 1 year later, stories of loss and overcoming. And it has really been my privileged to meet people, those that I don't know, and hear their stories, but also those I do know, and also to hear their stories. And I believe that the stories are stories that we tell matter, and they're a part of the healing process for us. So today, I have Andrea Martin with me. Andrea, thank you so much for taking some time to be with me for this interview.
Michelle, thank you so much for putting all this together.
Yeah, you're welcome. So before we get started, just talking about Hurricane Helene, um, tell I see that you're an incredible artist, a mural painter, a mural artist, but there's so many facets to you. So was wondering if you could just tell our listeners some about you, about your business and your creative pursuits as well.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Hendersonville. I've lived here or in Asheville my entire life. And I own a cabinet and design firm in downtown Hendersonville. And then I've also painted over 30 murals all over the Southeast. They started out as dedication murals to veterans, and then it just evolved into everything else.
Yeah. And did I see recently, have you even painted a bear or for downtown Hendersonville?
I did, and I painted on it the Lake Lure Flowering Bridge
Mm-hmm.
and the Lake Lure Doggy Rainbow Bridge and cat that washed away. Just I feel like art can be so healing,
Mm-hmm.
and that place meant so much to me and my little boy. We went every 2 weeks that I had to memorialize it.
Right. Yeah, that I will tell you for me as well, Lake Lure has always been a very special spot, and the Flowering Bridge, I went there a lot as well. And it was such a healing place, and I love plants and gardening and that type of thing, and I have tons of pictures
Oh, and
of of being there, and it's really it's very surreal, isn't it, now that we know the bridge was torn down last week.
yeah, I think surreal is a great word. Like it's still shocking when I see it. It
Hmm.
doesn't, I have not gotten used to it yet. You know,
Hmm.
the lake is full of grass now. And it's like, what am I? Look at my brain still can't comprehend it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it in Lake Lure, I haven't been over there as of yet, but I have seen that they are some businesses are beginning to open up,
Yes.
and the roads, getting there, especially from Hendersonville, um, there has been work that has had to be done even for folks to get there. Um, it's just been quite a journey, hasn't it, this hurricane?
It really has. And I know you can still access Lake Lure from the Columbus side. The
Hmm.
Hendersonville side isn't quite open. And they don't know when it will be open.
Yeah,
It's wild. But
yeah,
yes, this hurricane is, I mean, when they said catastrophic, when they were telling us like the day before, I don't think anybody could comprehend what catastrophic meant.
right. Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up the day before because I want to ask you, what were you doing or what do you remember about the days leading up to Helene?
Well, I remember, Hurricane Charlie in 2004, flooding Biltmore, and I've obviously lived here my whole life. I remember certain hurricanes coming through and flooding.
Hmm.
And I remember 2 days before the hurricane, we'd had those days of rain, and Biltmore Village was already flooding.
Right.
It was all over the news. There was like 4 foot, and I remember seeing. I remember thinking, man. that's usually where it's getting after the hurricane has hit.
Right.
And we haven't even had the hurricane yet.
Yeah.
And so I immediately started preparing. We lived on the side of Saluda Grade, and I, my friend lost her aunt to a landslide 10 years ago in
Mm.
Saluda. And
Okay.
so I was well aware, even though it was rare, it was a possibility. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to get my family, a hotel room. We're going to make a couple days of it just to make sure that we're safe
Hmm.
because landslides, the thought of it terrifies me.
Me
And
too.
so I went and got a hotel at the Fairfield on Upward Road, and I made sure it wasn't near any rivers or, it was flat. There weren't any big trees around. Like I was just doing my due diligence because I had lived it before. And I knew that even if we only had 60-mile-an-hour winds, that's a lot in the mountains because our pine trees don't have the root system that the ocean areas have.
Right.
And so if the ground is wet, those trees are falling, even at
Yes.
60-mile-an-hour winds.
Right. Yeah. So it sounds like because, you had already had some prior experience to hurricane hurricanes coming through the mountains, or the remnants of it, which, with the rain and the winds and this and it is a very unique environment here because of the trees, like the pine
Mm-hmm.
trees, not having the roots, the ground being so saturated before
Mm-hmm.
anything before the real, before the storm came through the mountains. So you've had some experience with that before. So I know that you probably that was so good that you thought proactively and you all were in a place where you knew you would be safe to ride out the storm. So after the storm came through the mountains, what what was going through your mind, or what were you finding out or experiencing, um not being quite at your home but still being in the area?
So, we woke up that morning. We obviously lost power immediately. We didn't have
Hmm.
power from 7 a.m. on. And we were in the hotel, and um, we didn't have water. We didn't have power. We didn't have cell phones. And I remember, I won't say chaos, but I will say it was a very stressful situation
Yeah.
because where we stayed at was at Upward Road.
Hmm.
And the interstate was, when I looked out my hotel window, the interstate was completely covered in water. And no, obviously they closed 26 for a long time, but they were turning everybody around at Upward Road.
Yeah.
And so I look out my window and there's just cars and cars and cars. And I mean, I'm talking a mile or more every direction.
Hmm.
No gas stations are open.
Hmm.
People are coming to the hotel to try to get shelter,
Yeah.
and the hotel was turning them away. And people were trying to check in, but they didn't have power and
Yeah.
they didn't have a backup system. And so they refused to check people in, which I felt like was not appropriate during the situation, even if they had reservations, because they were like, we don't know if you're lying.
uh,
And so the complete lobby was full of people just waiting for a room. And it was completely dark, obviously.
hmm.
Um, but at about 11 o'clock, that's when it started breaking up. Like the skies started, the hurricane was over us or, gone. And
Hmm.
so I told my little boy because I didn't know what to do with him.
Yeah.
He was a wild little boy, and he was safe, but I was just trying to keep the situation calm for him. And we went for a ride, and we couldn't really go anywhere, obviously, because, oh, and our dogs were at my showroom, my cabinet showroom. And because the hotel wouldn't let us have dogs, I had no idea that downtown Hendersonville would become an island.
Yeah.
But you could not access downtown Hendersonville. Even Four Seasons Boulevard, which is never flooded, was under 10 foot of water.
Hmm.
And so we tried to every direction to get to the dogs and we couldn't. But I had left them with plenty of food and water, but I obviously still did not want them trapped. And then I just remember I mean, we couldn't drive around much and we just went back to the hotel and just it was heartbreaking.
Hmm.
Everything that we were seeing and the panic and the people that were trapped and couldn't go anywhere. And we were stuck. We did see someone pass away right on Spartanburg Highway. He got sucked into a culvert. It was a homeless person. And the rescuers were there trying to help him. But it was just that first day was just mass chaos. But it was like mass chaos in your own little world because you had no way to connect with anyone else.
Right. Yeah. And I know that for me, it was several days before I was able to locate where I could get some Wi-Fi, which was for me was right at the top of my street on Sweeten Creek Road. I was
Mm-hmm.
able to get some Wi-Fi up there, and when I made contact with my daughters first, they said, "Oh, thank God you're alive." And I was like, what happened to us?
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Because I I only knew what I knew like in my little area in Arden. And it
Right.
was trees were down. You couldn't get out of your neighborhoods, no water,
Right.
no power. I had no idea what was going
Right.
on in Black Mountain, in Fairview, in Hendersonville, in Marshall, all I mean, all Lake Lure, and they had could not even have comprehended it in my mind how absolutely devastating it was.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So, were can you so after, during the storm, were somewhere you felt safe and, were you prepared? Like, did you bring food or
No.
water with you?
So that's one thing. We have plenty of water and emergency supplies and
Hmm.
food and flashlights, and we even have a solar panel for electricity. I
Yes.
brought nothing with me. So
Oh,
we had no food, we had no water. The hotel didn't have water. Like we were in a mess.
oh,
And
mm,
so, and there were no stores open because there
right.
was no power.
Yeah.
We did have some snack food that we
Hmm.
were able to hold over on. But the next couple days were just the water finally went down, I think after a couple days, and we were able to get to the showroom to check on the dogs. They were fine. We actually have two new puppies now because they were trapped in the showroom.
Oh.
But we call them the hurricane puppies. But my showroom ended up flooding, and I remember my son's girlfriend's family had a generator,
Hmm.
and my other son's dad had a generator. So I told them drive as little as possible because no gas stations are open.
Right.
And I took my youngest to his dad's and my oldest went to his girlfriend's, and I knew they were safe.
Hmm.
And for the next 2 weeks, it was, it was me fending for myself. I didn't have anywhere to sleep because I couldn't get home. And I mean, I could get home after a while, but the trees were down on the interstate and
Hmm.
trees were blocking my road. I just couldn't get home. So I was couch surfing for a couple
Hmm.
weeks.
Hmm.
I because we didn't have cell phone signal, I would tell my oldest to check in with me at my showroom every night at 8 p.m. So I knew
Yeah.
that he was safe. It was a horrible experience. But the fun part was we would leave really sweet post-it notes for each other. And that's the time I have all the notes. Like my friends would come by the showroom and leave me notes like, "Are you okay?" It was literally like we were back in the 1800s where all you could do was leave notes, and hopefully that the
Yeah.
people that you loved were okay. I went to as many people as I could to walk because I didn't want to drive
Yeah.
to check on them. There were
Yeah.
no the red lights were down everywhere, and trees and power, and it was just it was dangerous everywhere, but nobody cared because we were just trying to uh, you go into who's out there, who's suffering, who's trapped under something, who cares about power. We
Right.
have to save these people that are possibly under debris or in the water, or washed down the river, that are up in a tree. Like,
Right.
it was our priorities completely changed, and
Hmm.
I threw myself into going to Silverados and Swananoa because I needed to fill my time, and I knew that if I was helping people, it would take the stress off what I was feeling on myself.
Right.
And so I went and volunteered there many days, which
What
was
was what were some of the things, the opportunities to volunteer that what was that like in Swananoa?
awful, just heartbreaking. Swananoa was one of the places that got hit, and I remember people running up to each other and being like, "Oh my gosh, you're alive,"
Mm,
because they didn't know.
yeah.
And there was a lot of crying, a lot of hugging, asking questions. Have you seen so and so? And
Hmm.
this is a week after.
Yeah.
Like, it was just terrifying and scary, but then also so much joy if you found the person that you were looking for, or you found out that your friend was okay.
Yeah.
Because there are rivers everywhere, and it seems like just nobody was exempt from anything.
Right.
And I remember the poorest people would come up, and I'm like, "What do you need? Do you need food? What do you need?" And they'd be like, "If I could just get a heater, or if I could just get a bowl of a can of beans." And I'm like, "Do you need toilet paper?" Like, they just wouldn't ask for anything else than what they barely needed.
Yeah.
So it was it was very eye opening, and it put everything in perspective for me.
Hmm.
My hairdresser actually let me stay at her house because she's one of my best friends as well.
Yeah.
We didn't have water. I couldn't shower. Well, she was the first to get water
Oh,
after like a week and a half or two
yeah.
weeks. I can't remember. Man, I woke up that morning. She had water. She was like, "I'm fixing your hair." And so she fixed my hair. And I remember walking down Main Street in downtown Hendersonville, and I almost wanted to hide my hair because everybody else looked awful because they
Hmm.
hadn't showered in a week and a half.
Yeah.
And I looked like I walked out of a magazine because my hair was so big and pretty. And I was like, "Oh, I feel horrible." And people were, because I stayed at my showroom a lot, like during the day, just to kill
Hmm.
time, even though I didn't have power. And I remember people would be on Main Street. They brought TVs, they brought their cell phones because Main Street did have power. And families were sitting on Main Street watching shows.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, it was wild. But
Yeah.
from all of this, I saw a whole lot of pain and suffering, and I knew that I had to do something. So I did start a nonprofit out of this called the Blue Haven Foundation.
Okay.
Um, but I would like to talk about a couple of the stories that impacted me the most, if that's okay,
Sure.
that aren't mine.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So my ex-husband is Buncombe County law enforcement, and he lived on the Swananoa River.
Mm,
And I remember him telling me he was going to try to stay up all night just in case the river came up. We had no idea how much it would come up, like, obviously, but,
right.
just to make sure his car is okay and everything. Well, he fell asleep at 2 o'clock accidentally. He just couldn't hold his eyes open anymore. And when he fell asleep, thank God, his captain called him at 4 a.m. and was like, "Get up, we need you now." And so he got in the shower and he was walking down the steps of his deck and he saw the water, and it was already up to his knees.
Mm,
And he walked in that water, moved his truck to the top of the hill, way far away, ran back down to his patrol car and drove off, knowing he was probably not going to have a home to come home to. And they sent him straight to the KOA in Swannanoa. And at this point, it's about 5 o'clock in the morning. And he said as soon as he pulled up, the wall of water hit. And there was a wall of water. And he said the campers, the RVs, the people, he said it was just men, women, children screaming at him, please help me, please help me. And he said there was nothing he could do. He just watched them all. He tried to get in, but it was too much. And so then he said that he had to deal with that. He said his whole morning was just trying to rescue people, and he couldn't because the water was so strong. It's not like a flood at the beach where the water slowly rises. I'm not talking about the tide. I'm just talking about flood water. When you're at the
Hmm.
beach, it slowly rises over days. This was tsunamis. This was 100-mile-an-hour water. And that was his whole day. And he got the call about 9 a.m. and they were like, evacuate now. Everybody in Bunkum, in East Bunkum, evacuate now. The dam is about to break. And they all had to run code to the Asheville Mall. And he said that he kept looking in the rearview mirror and he just kept thinking the water's going to get me and I'll never be able to tell our son goodbye. I just want him to know I love him. And it was just heartbreaking because of everything he already saw with those children. And so he did make it to the mall. And then the rest of his day was just filled with basically watching people die, not being able to do much. And he took off 2 weeks after that because he just couldn't handle it. And he turned into this shell of a man that I didn't know. Even though he was my ex, he was still a person. And
Right.
it just broke my heart that he wasn't the same. And he went home that day and he had nothing. He didn't have a house. He didn't have clothes. He didn't have anything. It was all gone.
Wow.
And these law enforcement and EMS and firefighters, not only did they survive the horror too, but they lost everything too.
Yeah.
And it's just a double whammy for them. And that's why I started my nonprofit. And I kept telling him, I'm trying to raise money for you. And he kept saying, I don't deserve that money because I couldn't save those babies.
Mm.
So another law enforcement officer here in Hendersonville, he and his wife just bought their house in July. They have this cute little stream behind their house. It's on a full basement. It's about 14 foot. Their main floor is about 14 foot off the ground. Newlyweds, and September 27th hit. And they said that the basement started filling up. They have two dogs. And then it rose over 14 foot and it started getting into their main house. And they said by the time it got to their waist on the first floor, they had just bought kayaks 2 days before.
Hmm.
And they got in their kayaks and they kayaked out their front door.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, with their dogs. And they
Wow.
put them in their crate, like they put the cats, they had cats too. They put cats in a crate and they put the dogs and the cats in a crate and put them in the kayaks and kayaked out their front door. And because right past the house, it was a river like flowing past. So they held onto the gutters at their front door, which was kind of hidden by the garage.
Mm-hmm.
And they hung onto those gutters for hours. The husband was in his boxers. The wife was in like a tank top and shorts. And they watched people get rescued in their neighborhood. There were elderly people
Yeah.
that needed to be rescued, and they were drug up banks, but they all got rescued.
Wow.
And then the Swiftwater Rescue came. I think it was 3 or 4 hours later, and they came and got them and rescued them. But their
Wow.
home was under. It ended up being under 20 foot of water.
Wow.
Um, and some of those people in that neighborhood don't have insurance. They had flood insurance, um, just by the grace of God. But those kind of people they motivate me.
Yeah. That just hearing those stories. And I know we've talked previously that you were given permission by those individuals to tell the stories, even though we're not mentioning names,
Right.
but they did give you permission to share your stories and or their stories so that others can know about it, you know. So um I do at the toward the end of our talk, I do want to give you an opportunity where people could find out more about the nonprofit and how folks might be able to continue to help support, because we know 1 year later things are not back. They're it's not back to normal. It
Right.
will never be the same because of what happened,
Mm,
right?
correct.
And um, so it sounds like you were really called to action,
Right.
like there, as soon as you knew that your boys were safe, that you were called to action and in just whatever way that you could. And, I saw a lot of that here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, People who were local that did that, but also other nonprofits that came and brought supplies that we needed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never felt so grateful in my life for community.
Mm-hmm.
I just um I mean, I think our neighborhood really got to know each other so much better because of what we went through, and we were cooking what was in our freezers, on grills and eating together, which we had never done that before.
Right.
Um, so I know we also experienced that, but there's such, it's just, such great loss, devastation, and yet just little glimmers of gratitude and
Mm-hmm.
and people coming together in ways that we would have never imagined.
Right. And I feel like I have a special bond with the people that I lived through this with.
Mm-hmm.
Or even, I haven't seen you a lot,
Mm-hmm.
or at all, but you have this special bond with this trauma that you went through with these people.
Yeah.
And even like the people, my neighbors here, like my showroom flooded. I had to pay for it all, even though it wasn't from flood, it was from rain blown wind. And you just have that bond with people like small business owners where it's like, hey, I see you. I know that you lost a lot during this hurricane and you had to pay for it yourself.
Yeah.
And you're a fighter, and they didn't issue permits. They only issued emergency permits for probably 2 or 3 months here,
Mm-hmm.
and none of us could work. And
Wow.
it was a really hard time where it was like, am I going to get through this? Like, not only is our community going through this, but we don't even know if we're going to have businesses anymore.
Right.
And it's just the most stressful time. I mean, it's one of the hardest times of my life, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And our community did so much for each other. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that was what did it for me was, man, I'm glad I live in this community.
Right. Yeah. So, I want to ask you, did this experience, I hear the gratitude and the appreciation and love, for deeper, further love that you have for the community where you live. But how has this experience changed the way that you see yourself?
Um, that's a great question. Um, I feel like I need to be more prepared, even though I was prepared. None of
Okay.
it was with me,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. I found that, I'm looking to buy a new house, and I'm like, are there trees around it? Is it near a river? I've always wanted to live near a stream. And now I'm like, I don't want to live near a stream.
Same.
I don't like the
I feel
trauma
that.
that has come with it. I'm
Yep.
like, I don't want to live on the side of a mountain.
Right. Yeah.
Literally the list that I have gotten for the new home that I want to buy is
Hmm.
completely changed from what it was. I feel like I'm holding my family a whole lot closer, which I don't think my sons enjoy. Um, but I also cherish the time with my friends, and I am working a little less,
Oh.
and which I love. Like
Hmm.
I'm comfortable. I don't have to take every job. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just changed me to where I want to value this life that we have,
Hmm.
and I want to help people who need help. Um,
Yes.
because I find my happiness serving.
Yeah. Yeah. That that is so beautiful. And I think that when we're going through difficult times, I don't think we necessarily are thinking, I wonder what I'm gonna get, how I'm gonna grow.
Hmm.
Who will I be as a result of what I'm going through? But it's definitely after the fact. And that y- y- like you said, preparedness, but also resilience and
Hmm.
service. And
Hmm.
although, you also had things, in that, with your own home. I mean, we were without power and water for quite a while,
Hmm.
and so, you've learned, you've seen, and I can do this, and I'm taking care of my family, and I'm also loving and supporting people. Um, I think we hugged each other more,
Hmm. Definitely.
and we cried
Definitely.
with strangers, people that we don't even know,
Right.
because we shared, like you said, that common bond of going through this traumatic weather event.
Right. And
Yeah.
I work with very affluent people. That is my main customer base.
Mm-hmm.
And I am mainly not around the less fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, they're sweet and they don't ask for a lot.
Yeah.
And I just want to be more like them. I just
Right.
want to be grateful for everything and not be caught up in the worldly. Like they taught me so much during the hurricane.
Yeah.
Just simple. Yeah.
One of the phrases that I heard often was, "Oh, you need to give that to somebody else."
Oh
There's
yeah,
other that's a very common, very real sentiment in this area, isn't it?
it is. And nobody waited for the government to come.
No.
We waited for them to come, but
Yes.
it was like, you come or you don't. We're going to take care of each other,
Right.
which
Yeah.
is a great attitude.
Hmm. I
And
think so
man,
too.
I can't say enough about the Louisiana State Police and what Louisiana did for our area. The United Cajun Navy is still here today.
Yeah.
And when my ex-husband and all those other cops had to take off because they couldn't deal, the Louisiana State Police stepped in. They're the
Wow.
ones that covered Buncombe County and more counties, but that's part of it. Like they've been through it with Katrina,
Yes.
and so now we can pass it on to more people. But man, Louisiana really did good.
That's
Like
so
I just
good.
remember seeing their SUVs everywhere,
Yeah.
and just being. I wanted to stop and hug them because I'm just like, thank you so much for what you like. We see you, like
Yes.
everybody that came to help. We saw you,
Hmm.
even if we couldn't tell you.
Right. Right. So, could you tell the audience a little bit more about the nonprofit, and is there a way that they could help with the ongoing support?
Yes, so my nonprofit is called the Blue Haven Foundation. And we had our first ball on March 15th, which I had to throw it together, obviously. With in-kind donations and regular donations, we raised $48,000.
Wow.
Right. It was amazing what our community did, but we are having a moving forward, the goal is to have, like if a law enforcement officer's kitchen floods from the dishwasher or something,
Mm-hmm.
our goal is to be able to help first responders who have emergencies, whether their child has cancer or their kitchen floods. If they need some money, we want to help them where they need it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, these guys are going to live with that the rest of their lives. They're used to
Right.
like seeing dead people. They're
Yeah.
not used to seeing people they can't help. And the trauma
Mm-hmm.
is forever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're having a big derby dance at the end of next April to raise money. We're having a golf tournament in October of 26, and we're just going to be doing different fundraisers for these individuals. And we have a Venmo set up so that people can donate as they wanted. But I'm just super excited about, even though the hurricane was hard, it's bringing about so much good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our Venmo is Blue Haven United.
Okay. Blue Haven United.
Right.
Okay. And that's
Um, you
Venmo.
know, me and my little boy went to the Flowering Bridge and the Chimney Rock Gem Mine every 2 weeks. It was our date.
Mm-hmm.
And to talk about the impact on him as an 8-year old,
Mm-hmm.
I remember pulling up my Facebook and them showing the Chimney Rock gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so shocking for my eyes. And then when he had to see it and he started crying
Mm-hmm.
because it was just how do you help an 8-year old through that,
Right.
And he didn't have school for weeks, and when he went back to school, he goes to a private school, and that Asheville private school couldn't continue because they didn't have water or power or anything. And they started coming to his school. And so he learned we help each other out no matter what during this time. Where he loved the doggy bridge, the rainbow bridge. We're still working through that.
Yeah.
It's a process. Like it takes a while to
Yeah.
get through that as an adult.
Right.
And then to have your favorite place gone as a child is just a
Yeah.
lot. It's not fair. I know
It
that sounds
yeah.
silly, but
Yeah. Yeah. And we're ill prepared to know how to it's part of the reason why I'm so passionate about grief recovery and grief and working with people through grief and loss because we're grief illiterate and we don't know what to do, when and we know we're hurting
Mhm.
and or we see other people hurting, but what to do is I think that's why my passion is to educate people on that. And so I want to wrap up this interview with if you could give some advice um, to people who might be going through a disaster now,
Mhm.
what do you think you would tell them?
What is happening is temporary, and you will get to the other side.
Hmm.
And you will rebuild, and you will be okay. Surround yourself and others with support to help you through this time, and don't expect yourself to to heal quickly. I just remember thinking, even now I could cry. Um, I just remember thinking, why is this taking so long?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
It's a big death. I mean, everything we
Mhm.
lost, the
Yes.
places, the people.
Hmm.
We all know people who died. Like it's just a lot.
It is. And even almost a year later, which is part of the reason why I
Yeah,
wanted to
it's
do
good.
this storytelling project is because we're almost a year out, and it's still we're still numb. We still have scars. It still hurts, and things are like you said, why are things taking so long, and part of healing is being able to hold space for individuals, for them to tell their stories and whatever it is that they want to say. And with that, Andrea, I just want to say thank you for giving me some time and for you to just to be able to share some of your story. And I see you in the community, and you are an amazing person. I know that you love God and that you are serving. You have a servant's heart. I love what you've done to help support your fellow citizens, not only in Hendersonville, but in Swannanoa and other areas as well. So thank you for showing up and being yourself.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
You're welcome. And everyone, I will drop in the comments the information for Blue Haven Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization that Andrea has started for first responders to be able to help them with just different needs that they might have, whether it's residential or personal needs with the resources to help support them. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing, Andrea.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you'll listen to the next story that I will be dropping very soon. Thank you so much and take care.